So you're building for the Google Play Store. That's huge. You get to reach millions of people. But with that reach comes a responsibility to keep the ecosystem safe and trustworthy. And one of the most important rules of the road here is the unwanted software policy. So let's break down exactly what you need to know to stay on the right side of it and, more importantly, create an app that users love. Pretty much everything we're going to talk about today really comes back to this one core idea. And it's not just some nice corporate slogan. It's genuinely the guiding light for all of Google Play's policies. If you always keep the user's best interest at the heart of what you're building, you're already most of the way there. Okay, here's a great way to think about it. Imagine the Play Store is like a giant, bustling neighborhood. The good apps, they're the great neighbors. They add value, they make the community a better place to be. This policy is really all about making sure we don't have any bad neighbors spoiling it for everyone else. And really, this is what it all boils down to. It's a simple contract of trust. Does your app actually do what you say it's going to do? And are you totally upfront and honest about how it works? If you can confidently say yes to both of those, you've already got the spirit of the policy down. All right, so let's talk about those bad neighbors. What does it actually mean? Well, in the policy world, there's a specific term for it, Mobile Unwanted Software. It's a bit of a mouthful, so people just call it MUwS. Let's dig into what that actually is. So here it is, the official definition. Malware is any software that just breaks that contract of trust we were talking about. Maybe it's deceptive, maybe it messes with the user's phone in weird ways, or maybe it's sneakily collecting data in the background. Basically, anything that harms the user and their experience. So what are we actually looking for? Well, these are the classic signs of unwanted software. Think of them as red flags. Is your app promising the world but not delivering? Is it tricking people into installing it? Or hiding what it's really doing? These are the kinds of behaviors that will get an app labeled as MUwS. All right, now we need to talk about three really, really big ones. These are the high priority violations you absolutely have to steer clear of. Getting these wrong is a surefire way to run into serious issues. Okay, so what are they? Ad fraud, hostile downloaders, and imitating system functionality. These three are some of the fastest ways to get your app into hot water, so let's zoom in on each one. Okay, let's kick things off with red flag number 1, ad fraud. And look, we're not just talking about a badly placed ad here. Ad fraud is when you're actively trying to trick an ad network into thinking it's getting real eyeballs and real clicks when it's not. It's a huge problem because it completely undermines the ad ecosystem that so many of us rely on. And this is a perfect way to see what's okay and what's not. It's pretty simple, right? Are your ads actually visible to the user? And are the clicks coming from a real person who's genuinely interested? If you're hiding ads or using a script to fake clicks, that's a huge no-no. But if your ads are right there in the open and clicked by real people, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Next up, red flag number 2. And this one's a little tricky. It's called a hostile downloader. Now, the app itself might not be malicious, but if its main job becomes pushing other unwanted software, other MUwS, then it's a huge problem. It basically becomes a carrier for bad stuff. So you might be wondering, how does Google even decide if an app is a hostile downloader? Well, it comes down to a very specific number, 5%. If at least 5% of all the apps that get downloaded through your app are considered MUwS, then your app gets flagged. It's a really clear, data-driven line in the sand. And that brings us to our third and final red flag. And honestly, this one is a huge deal when it comes to user trust. It's imitating system functionality. See, we're all trained to trust the alerts and notifications from our phone's operating system. When an app or an ad hijacks that trust by pretending to be a system alert, well, that's a serious violation. Let's make this super clear with a couple of examples. A notification from your airline app about a great flight deal? Perfect. That's a core feature of the app. But an ad designed to look like a scary system warning saying you have a virus? That is absolutely prohibited. It's all about honesty. The notification has to be clearly from your app, serving your app's purpose. Okay, we've talked a lot about what not to do. So now let's flip it around. Here's your simple checklist for getting it right, for building an app that's not just compliant, but one that users will genuinely trust and enjoy using. And honestly, this little table here pretty much sums up the whole thing. On the do side, it's all about being transparent, being secure, and giving the user control. And on the don't side, it's about avoiding tricks, disruption, and deception. If you just internalize these simple ideas, you'll be in fantastic shape. So at the end of the day, as you're building, as you're updating your apps, it all comes back to this one simple question you should ask yourself. Are you delivering real, honest value to your users? Because if you truly focus on that, like the policy says, everything else will follow.